Hey guys, and welcome to today's episode of the Hyrox Heroes podcast brought to you by Hybrid Heroes. If you don't know me, my name is Damien. I am the coach and founder here at Hybrid Heroes, and it's been a couple weeks, maybe even close to 3 weeks since my last episode because I have been sick. I've been dealing with a bit of a sinus infection. And it's just been lingering. It's been taking its time, and I haven't been able to talk, which is unlike me, properly. So here I am back. But this has led to today's conversation and what we're going to talk about. Because what has happened, and I'm going to share my experiences, because you might be someone like I had been, and I put myself in this position that I was just doing too much. I was burning out. I was training for Hyrox. I wasn't letting off. I, am so caught up in just wanting to be at every training session, at every event, and because of FOMO, right? And like many of us, it's all this Hyrox space, training with our buddies, training with our friends, doing races. There is no shortage of it, and we want to be part of it. But what happens is we play the game of addition. And addition means we add more training, we add more events, we add more gatherings. The only subtraction we seem to have is like less sleep, right? Less time for ourselves, less recovery. And this just compiles and compounds over time. And the body knows, right? When you get sick, when it breaks down, when it stops performing for you, it's because of a sign. It's the body literally saying, you have to stop because I cannot keep going this way, right? And that could be purely because of physical reasons. It could be because of mental reasons, because there are only, there would be 0.0000 like 1% of people in this world who are full-time Hyrox athletes, because even a lot of the pros still got jobs, right? Like they still have to work because the sport just isn't evolved. It's just in a lot of sports, even if you're a professional runner, triathlete, all that kind of stuff. So in that saying, for the majority of us, right, we still then have to go to work. We still have to do 40 hours, 60-hour work weeks. We still have families to take care of. We still have, partners and relationships to be part of. We still have responsibilities and commitments, and we're trying then to give to ourselves and be this, extraordinary hybrid athlete, right? Hybrid athlete, it's like you're trying to be great at everything, right? It's not even like, I just want to be a good runner. It's like, I got to be good at running. I got to be good at strength. I got to be good at fast running, long running. We got to do it all. So again, the training load and what we constantly put ourselves through is immense. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about the signs, right, of burnout. Are you doing too much? And why we must train smart, not hard, right? Now, I'm a huge believer in hard work, right? And I don't believe it doesn't mean you should not work hard. We must always, working hard, or it's not even something that I think you should do. It should just be a default. If there is work to be done, that should be our mindset and attitude, that we get the work done, right? However, we have to be smart about it, because you can just go and run 50 kilometers every single day, right? Does that mean you're going to be a better runner at the end of 3 months, 6 months? There's a good chance, if we take a normal person and give them a prescription of just go run and do the hard work, you're actually going to go backwards very quick. You're going to get injury, something's going to happen really, really quickly. So we have to train smart. And I think being smart and being intelligent in how we apply ourselves then allows us to then work hard at that. Okay. So we have to, again, if we're looking, how do we become the best athlete? How do we prepare best for Hyrox? How do we continue to make progress? It's about being smart, especially in hybrid Hyrox racing, where there are so many modalities, there are so many things to master, there are so many things to work on, right? And we're going to talk about that right now. So this comes back to a saying that I like. I got lots of sayings, but it's like, what gets you here doesn't get you there, right? And that is why, for a lot of us, a lot of people into the Hyrox space, people who are brand new, coming into it, newbies, we get those like beginner gains, right? A lot of us, like, unless you're really at like the, really getting to the advanced side of things, right? The majority of time, if you just start doing more running, you will improve lots in running. If you just start doing more strength training, you will get stronger, right? If you do start doing more Hyrox style sessions, you will just get better at Hyrox. This is what gets you here, right? This gets you to good. This gets you to okay. This gets you to competent. This can get you to ready to take on a Hyrox. But then if you want to get really good at Hyrox, like you want a PB, you want to go sub 110 in a solo, if you want to go sub 60 in a mixed doubles race, if you want to go sub 60 in a solos event, right? What's going to get you there is totally different, right? And in this sport, and I'm a coach, and here I am on the podcast giving you my opinion and my observations, right? And so do so many other people. And that's the thing. There are so many different, well, look, there's so many different people, right, saying different things, I guess, because there's not one way to do it. And I can totally agree with that. However, there are principles and there are concepts that are true and true between every single one of us coaches. Anyone who's a educated coach and been doing it for a while, if you take the concepts and the principles of what we're going to say, like consistency, repeatability, being measurable, right? These types of understandings, they're always applied in all the different methods. So, methods are many, principles are few. That's another one of the sayings. So when we understand the principles, right, we can do it as however many methods. And that is why we can get so confused, because we get caught up on the how-tos. We get caught up on thing does it like this person does it like that, this worked for this person's saying do this for beginners, this like, what does all of this eventually mean, right? So what could be happening in your training right now is you might be using a method that got you here, but it's not going to get you there, right? It got you to, running a bit more, it got you to your first Hyrox, but now you want to make improvements. You're using the same method, an old method, right, that has limitations to it, right? Like e.g., if you just go start doing 2 runs a week randomly, right? Random runs. If you just go like, I'm going to run 10K out at whatever pace, I'm just going to run. And then on midweek, I'm just going to do some sprint intervals. And that could be varied. That could be 800s, 400, whatever it is. You're going to make improvements in running. But over time, that won't yield progression anymore because there is no structure to it. The body then can't continue to adapt because we don't understand the principles of adaptation, how to, load the body. Progressive overload means we want to add around 10% extra loading to the body per week, 5 to 10%, right? Gradually then to get adaptation. But if we load it 30, 40%, imagine someone who's like super motivated, getting into Hyrox, wants to go at it. We might be going way too hard, too early in our training block, right? Which means we then are now stressing the body too much, which is going to lead to the factors that we're going to talk about today, like burnout, injury, mental health issues, right? And that is unsustainable. That will not then allow continued progression, adaptation, right? So you might be in this spot. So we're going to talk about the differences in like who you are, right? Are you a newbie to this space? Are you a young gun full of energy? Are you like in your middle age? Are you like, 30 to 45 years old, right? Because how you train compared to a 20-year-old, right, is going to be different. Are you an older adult? Like, are you, 50 plus years of age, right? I know a lot of people in this bracket and they're trying to replicate the training of even like people in their early 30s, right? Again, this is where the problems or the limitations can start, right? Are you a professional or are you wanting to be a pro, right? Be in that top, be on the podium, because the way that they train and sadly, we look to the people on the podium, right, for inspiration and to see what's possible. And it's incredible. I work with some of these people right now who are on the podium, and what they do, I would not prescribe to like 99.9% of people, because it is too much. But that's what it takes to be on the podium. But not only what it takes from training perspective, their life is also geared in a way that allows them to do that. So unless you're going to literally reconstruct your life to suit your training, right? Training like a pro is not going to yield you results, right? And again, let's just think of pro and newbie, okay? We can see a newbie take on a very advanced program. And again, they will get results early on. Because why? Because they're just doing more of everything. But eventually, right, and these people, like, they will burn out, right? They will burn out because they can't keep up with it. Other lifestyle factors will creep back in because they would have then had to push family, push work, push, other priorities. And you can only do that for like how long? 3 months, 6 months before those responsibilities come back into your life. And then boom, everything explodes, right? This could be you. You might have gone through this. So this is coming back to the concept. You got to be smart. Being smart means you got to understand who you are. Who am I? What are my needs? What do I want to achieve? Right? And then how do I train accordingly and appropriately, right? So that I can continue to make progress. If everyone just took a moment to fully analyze that first, right? And then went into a training program, you remove the ego, right? Like we have programs at Hybrid Heroes. We have a 4-day a week program. We have a 5-day a week. We have a 6-day a week program, right? Beginner, intermediate, advanced, right? As a construct. Now I've got people that are like, because we know it when they come in, they're like, haven't done a Hyrox before. This is all pretty new, but I want to train 6 days a week. It's like really, you know what I mean? It's like ambitious, awesome, motivated, love it, right? But going to that advanced program, it's actually, again, 12 weeks, it's a 12-week program. I know you're going to achieve less with that than you would with the 4-day week. Because if you do a 4-day a week program that is more suited to your lifestyle, that's still got the appropriate training in it, right? But you will then continue to feel good and progress all the way through that 12 weeks rather than trying to hang on for dear life, just trying to overload yourself, stress. These are the people that get, if they go through that, these are the people, again, ego. I want to do good. I really want to do great. I don't want to let anyone down. I want the validation. I want the accolade. I want all that kind of stuff. But they're the ones that get to Hyrox. You might have experienced this. You would have definitely seen someone else like that. And they are like on the cusp of like burnout, of just collapsing on race day. They're the ones that are like, they're on an edge and they get through the race. They're highly strung. And then what happens straight after the race? They get sick, right? They literally have this like crash of like dopamine because they've been in fight or flight for so long, and they crash really hard. Okay. And this isn't just something that happens to new people. This happens to experienced people too. There are a lot of people in the advanced, because if you think of people even in the advanced space, right? Now, advanced space not just comes down to people who are performing at the highest level, because in the world of fitness, right, there are a lot of people that have been fitnessing for a very long time, whether it's CrossFit, other sports, or just in the gym. If that's been part of your life for 10 years or plus, like, you're in the advanced space, you're not new to fitness. And also, you probably, like most of us in fitness, have an addiction, right? We do get addicted to training, hence why we're in the gym every single day, hence why, we love it, right? It's a healthy addiction, but any addiction can, become unhealthy. Like training, like there is always anything in life, too much of something can be a negative thing. So what we also do find is, even if you are someone that's advanced, you do have a high pain tolerance, you do have a high ability to do work, you have a great ability to recover, so you can like come back and do more sessions. And then what can happen is you can also then be someone who's so fixated on the goal that you then push yourself potentially in unhealthy ways. This is a little bit of potentially even like what I went through, right? Even as a coach, even as someone that's super aware. But, that's why we always have to be aware. We played a line, and as soon as I, saw it, and that's what I'm going to share with you now. So basically, like, ever since Hybrid Heroes started, we're originally with Hyrox Heroes, it's been close to about 15 months. Now, ever since that started, I have not missed one training session with any of my crew. And we've been getting more and more crew members, people joining our community. So for me, and especially knowing everyone and sort of the person in the middle of it all, I just was like, want to be there, want to do this, want to do that. And so we've been doing all these events. We've done several Hyroxes now, like we did Melbourne, we did Brisbane, back to Melbourne, Auckland, back to Brisbane. There was just always a Hyrox building. And straight after Brisbane this year, which was only like 5 weeks ago, I think now, we just went straight back into cool. Well, now, me and Jordan are going to be doing doubles in Sydney. So we started our new training block, which increased training. So what happened is I've been going at this intensity, right, for quite a while. Again, because I have been smart in a lot of my training, hence why I've been able to do it for so long. But then what happened is we had, we got a few new friends in the space who are running events, and more excitement, more intensity, and again, just doing more. And the body literally was like, it got sick. And I still tried to train through it initially. And this is how a lot of us do it. And I've had this like sinus infection for like a couple of weeks now. I've been just slowly getting over it. Little cough came, all cleared up. But it was the body's sign, right, of burnout. It was like too much. And having a few days off, right? I had a few days off. I've been being a lot kinder to myself. I've just been taking the mornings off to sleep in. I've rebalanced myself out with listening to, great podcasts, great audios, positive affirmation, journaling, those things that give back to myself. And now coming back to training, my performance is actually a lot better straight away. So again, we have to, and this is why it highlights to me, even so, two things here: the importance of training smart and just not getting caught up in, I just want to go, 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 go. We always have to look at the balance. We always have to look at our bodies, right? This is the weakness of us, is we're human, right? We're not AI. We're not just like, we can just go and operate at a high level all the time, right? We have to understand that there are components to us. There's the physical side. There is the mental side. There is your spiritual side. And then there's all your core values, like you're learning, your growth, family relationships, career, all these other things. So you have to balance them in order to get peak performance. You can't just put all your energy into one bucket, right? So this, to me, and I'm not going to dive into that, but that's a whole separate podcast. But what this said to me is I had to be smarter. I had to be smarter in my approach. But part of that smartness was me going, Damo, you're 36 years old, right? You have been doing this for a while, and you've been doing it at a high level for a while, and you're getting older, sort of thing. And I'm the fittest I've ever been in my life as well, which is amazing. And thank you to Hyrox, because this sport and this training style has literally allowed me to be, the fittest I've ever been. But now I have to understand who I am, because I'm training with 20-year-olds. I'm training with even people in their like early 30s, compared to now I'm on the later side of my 30s is different, right? So I have to understand, and I'm doing a lot of work. We're building a company, we're building a brand. There's a lot of hours where, I'm on the computer, I'm up late, I'm on meetings. So I have to also take into consideration the demands of my body, like my mental energy as well, outside of training, because I think I can just recover. And I think because I'm not using my body as much, that I'm not using energy, where it's not the case. So part of that training smart is I have to go, okay, I'm now sort of, late 30s, right? What does smart mean to me? Because what we started to do, and again, because I'm working with some people that are in the elite side, they're literally winning races, they're going world championships. So we put together their training schedule. And of course, I'm the coach and I want to be there. So I want to latch onto the same training and be there for it all. But it was 2 sessions on Monday, two sessions on Tuesday, long run Wednesday, 2 sessions Thursday, big Hyrox session on Friday, and 2 sessions one session on Saturday, one rest day Sunday. So that was 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9 training sessions, right? Now, structured well, taking, and this we're going to talk about a little bit with repeatability and stuff. But I started doing that for a couple of weeks, and this is where actually I got sick, because also work increased, other demands increased, and boom, it happened, right? So I want to share that. That's again an extreme side of things. But there's a lot of people. Now, I'm someone that's been doing this, like coaching 18 years, probably been exercising for like a good 20 plus years, been doing this Hyrox space. So imagine if you're just someone who's relatively new, or someone who's, breaking through, you're in that phase where you're now starting to go from okay to quite good, right? Are you someone that's putting 6, 7 sessions? And it's so interesting because a lot of people that I talk to in Hyrox and I talk about their training, they're doing like heaps of sessions. Even what I said, someone's listening to this probably now just going like, yeah, so like that's not that much. You know, that it's crazy the amount of volume that I see people do. Again, because so much to work on: long runs, short runs, Hyrox sessions, strength training sessions. There's a lot of different components, right? So, but if we just go more is better, I got to do more, I got to add more, I got to train more. Like, the question is this going to be the best way for everybody to improve? And it's absolutely not. So we've got to be training smart. Okay, so let's dive into it. Let's talk about the different styles, right? Or who are the different people that I see into this space. Now, this isn't everything, but it's a good overview. Okay, so we got the newbies. All right, now newbies does not just mean newbies to Hyrox, right? Newbies to functional fitness, to training, to running, to all of this type of fitness, right? So these newbies have what we call like a low training age, right? And that's how like coaches typically look at people, because you could be 30 years old, but you've only been in the gym for 2 years. So for me, you have a low training age. Your training age is 2 years. You could be 17 years old, right? And you've already been in the gym for 2 years, right? So that 17-year-old, that 30-year-old essentially have the same sort of training age. So when we're looking at people that have a very low training age, literally under 12 months, right? You are a complete newbie. And those people, which we encourage, let's do Hyrox, because Hyrox is a great goal to train for, right? Because who you need to be, right? You need to be able to run. You need to be able to move weight. You need to be strong, okay? But that newbie should not, right? Should not start by going hard and doing intense or, relatively intense Hyrox training sessions. We've got to understand what are the demands for a newbie. So if you're a newbie, listen up, right? And it doesn't matter where you are, from newbie and above, right? You got to understand these concepts, because if you don't fill in these, and I'm working with some people, world championship qualified people, right, who have missed one of these components. And guess what we're doing? We're coming all the way back down to the base to fix their problems at the top, right? So for that new person, you have to be working on the fundamental pillars, right? Strength and endurance. That's the two pillars at the bottom. Without two strong pillars at the bottom, everything above it, intensity, power, explosiveness, dynamics, ain't going to happen. Or it's going to be limited, right, to the ability of how wide that base is at the bottom. So if you're someone new, what training for you should look like should not be 5 sessions a week, should not be 6 sessions and cramming in all this work. You should be structuring some just baseline running, so zone 2 or slow long runs, 1 or 2 of them a week, and you should be doing a strength training program, like a purely strength training program. Again, I would say 2 sessions a week as a minimum. They could be 2 full body sessions. You could go to 3, maybe upper, lower, and a full body split. You could even go 2 upper, 2 lower, depending on your demands. If you have a Hyrox coming up, that person then could add in, let's just say you did 2 runs, 2 strength training, maybe a 5th session, right? Already we're starting to get a lot. See how easy it is to add sessions into the week. And then one of those sessions could just be a Hyrox session, but you have to move at appropriate intensity, right? Don't try to keep up with someone that you shouldn't be, right? So that's a newbie, right? But again, at the foundation, at the base, strength and endurance. So if you're an athlete, you're a great runner, you're even very good at Hyrox training, but you don't have structured strength training into your routine, or you never have spent, again, years doing that and compounding that into your body, that's going to be a weakness. It's going to be a huge weakness. It's going to add to instability in the joints, potentially likelihood of injury. You're going to find that you're going to lose form, you're going to lose positioning. And if we lose our ability to maintain posture and positioning, that's going to add inefficiency. It's going to have decreased performance. So it doesn't matter if you think you're getting away with it. You're not, okay? You are not. All right. That's for newbies. All right. Now let's call the next group, right? I just call them the young guns, right? This person is anywhere from typically 22 years of age up until, I'm going to call it like 28, right? This person either played footy, played sport, played netball, is used to sports, is used to running, is used to intensity, right? Potentially has done a bit of training in the gym, potentially has done F45, BFT, some CrossFit, right? Has now discovered the world of Hyrox and is like, I love this. I want to get really good at this. And these people just have the energy, they have the testosterone, they have the drive, they have the ability to recover and just do things really well, but they are inexperienced, right? They are still learning things. Now these people, these young guns, right, what they can do is they can, again, they add too much, right? Just like we were saying before, they add too many sessions. But these people as well, because they have just, they're at the stage in their life where they have the ability just to go harder, go faster, and do more, they can miss the training smart component, right? They just train hard and they love to train hard, and to tell them to do anything other than that just feels so counterproductive. So these people really can benefit from having more structure in their training versus being a little bit more random, and then sticking to the structure. So if there is a design, so if there is an intention, we need to run at this pace, or do intervals, and show repeatability in these ways. Strength training shouldn't just be like, this is how I feel today. It should be more like, this is what I need to do, to think a little bit more long term. These young guns are a little bit more in the moment. They're caught up. And if you are this person, or you're coaching this person, or you know someone like this, it's a little bit of a balance, because even for me as a coach, I never want to squash that. I never want to say don't be over energetic, but we have to try use that in more controlled ways, right? Now, when these people, right, because like when I work with these people, what happens is again, what gets them there here doesn't get them there, right? So sometimes these people, I just need them to get get here first, so then I can take you there. And when they get to that position, they start to plateau, right? So if you are plateauing, if you're a young gun in that plateau stage, listen up, got to start training smarter now, okay? But if you're still this young gun and you're making all those gains, at the end of the day, if you're getting results are the only thing that matter, right? Now, results just don't mean, and when I say the only thing that matter, yes, you're running faster, that's all that matters, or you're doing Hyrox. Well, results in every aspect, right? Are you feeling good in your body? Are you getting stronger? Are you less prone to injury because we've strengthened areas? Are you mentally feeling good? Is your performance improving? If you're getting all of these, then that's a great result. Okay, so keep doing what you're doing, but there will be a point. There will be a point. Everyone's got that point where then you have to train smarter, right? So for these young guns. So again, for the rest of us, newbies, the older people, if we're looking to these young guns to try keep up with them, right? We're like, sadly, it's going to have a lifespan as well. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a bit of understanding there, right? Okay, the middle-aged, right? I hope this is middle-aged. I feel like it's middle-aged, where we're getting, we're in our mid to late 30s, right? Let's call it that. If you're in your early 30s, and sadly, you're not a young gun anymore. But the great news is, and I experienced this, I think like, I don't even think you peak, and especially in Hyrox, you're not going to peak until you're 33, 35 years old. I don't think there's any reason why you can't be close to 40 peaking. Right now, what's the biggest advantage that us middle-aged people sort of, or older adults, compared to the 20-year-olds have, right, over them, is we have experience, right? We're a little bit more relaxed, right? We understand life a little bit more, but also we understand and we appreciate the idea of sustainability, because now fitness and what we do isn't just something we just want to do and we just want to go hard. It's something that we really enjoy, something we really value, and we want to do for a very long time, right? It's not just here for a moment for a lot of us. And also the time that we have might be more limited, or our ability to expend energy might be more limited. We can't just go hard every single day, 6 days a week, because it takes quite a toll on our body. But also, and this is another point to realize as well, if you are someone in your 30s, late 30s, even early 40s, and you've been doing exercise and running and training for a while, you also have to understand that, like, when we go hard, it's not just our bodies are older. It's like we have an ability to exert a lot of power, a lot of force, a lot of energy. And because we've been doing it for years. Now, sadly, it's still in the same body, it's still in the same nervous system, it's still in the same skeletal system. So that is just putting a lot of load on the body. So it's not just like I'm getting old, right? No, it's like when you go hard, right, you are doing more damage than what your 22-year-old self would have done, because that person wasn't as strong, didn't have the ability to express as much as you have now. So that is why also we have to be smarter, especially in our 30s, because when you say go to someone who's experienced or someone who's been doing it for a little while, right, that expression is going to be a lot, right? So even when I work and I coach with people, and this is how I'm managing myself now, is like in my training can be quite subpar. But then when race comes, and obviously we structure everything in training to get to that peak when it needs to be. But when it comes to racing, still very competitive, still very fast, right? Even though in training it doesn't always look like that. Why? Because I'm never trying to fully express what I've got in training. I'm trying to stick to my structures, get my adaptation, peak at the right time, because when I know I light the switch, it gets lit, right? There's a full expression there, and I have the ability to fully express, right? To almost use all of my potential via experience, but that takes a huge toll on my body. So again, if you're someone in this age, right, you have to understand that. So again, if you're trying to keep up the young guns, right, this could be anyone really over the age of like 30, right? If you're trying to keep up the young gun and you're wondering why you're taking harder to recover, or you can't do it as much, or you're coming into issues now of burning out, feeling cooked, feeling like you're coming into training like sore and always having to warm up, like do extra warm up. It just might mean that you're training too hard, right? Maybe too many sessions, so trim it there a little bit, but also maybe the intensity just needs to come down. And by doing that, you now will get back onto making progress rather than really having diminishing results, right? It could be as simple as that. Again, unfortunately, our ego needs to come in check at that point. All right, now let's call it like, middle-aged to older adults, right? So we're going up the scale. 45, 50 years old, 55 years old, we're starting to get to the people who are still doing amazing, right? Because as we're seeing in Hyrox, you can be in your 70s and still do Hyrox if you take care of your body. And this should be a goal that all of us aim to achieve. Now, these people, right, the difference is, right, it's like we can't be doing 6-7 sessions a week, right, to get the most out of our body. You have to be very smart. You have to understand, like, what is sustainable to me? What is too much, right? What intensity do I need to be going at, right? And then when a race comes, again, I know I need to peak into it and I need to deload out of it, because trying to stay at a very high level all year round, right, it's just not going to happen. My body can't handle it. The training's too hard. And then if training is too hard, that means that there's not much room to actually move into when come race time, because my body is already stressed and under load, and it's just not going to perform, right? Again, for these people, and I know some people, and we chat about it, again, it's like they're just hanging on to this idea that they need to be doing so much, right? That progress, like that volume, and sometimes it's because if you don't know how to train smarter, if you don't know how to get the most out of you, well, you only know what you know, so it's not your fault. But all you know is, again, maybe older concepts that worked for you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and that is volume, right? Do more volume, do more intensity, but it's not the case. So for those older sort of athletes, right, and the ones who do it well, right, I know for sure they would only train 3 to 4 times a week. They will do well-intentioned, good sessions, right, and they will get a lot of progress out of those sessions. Now, is that the only thing? No, there are some older adults, again, been doing it for their whole life, 40 years, 50 years, just been going at it. They're still doing 5-6 sessions a week, right? So again, there is not one approach, right? There is not one approach, but you have to understand just who you are, right? Am I using frameworks that serve me right now, today? Like, e.g., I'm 45 years old. Does my framework today work for a 45-year-old version of me? Or am I using a framework that worked for me when I was 30? Am I 60 years old? Am I trying to use a framework that I was using when I was 45 years old? You know what I mean? You have to just be real with what you're doing. again, Hyrox is new. So we look to the people, we look to the big brands out there, we look to Hybrid Heroes, we see everything they're doing. Does that mean that I need to do that? Or should I scale back accordingly? Because again, if this is like the hard version of it, well, what does my version look like if I'm, 50 years old? That needs to be less than that, because that is too much. Okay, hopefully that makes a distance. Now, what we're going to talk about here is the pros, the professionals, right? The top 1%, even less, right? These guys, right? So if you are someone that wants to be like a podium finisher, if you want to be a pro, if you want to be top of this sport, right? Now, what is required, right? Well, what is 100% required is intelligence. You need smarts, right? You need to be smart in your training. Everything needs to be thought out. Everything needs to be intentional, right? Because you are going to also need to do the hard work. You're going to have to, like, everyone has to do hard work. This is the default. But these guys, there is like, you sign up for the extra hard work. It's like you go to get, double meat at Subway or something like that. You're going to get double hard work here, right? You have to. It's a requirement. If you want to be the best, you got to do like more than anyone else will be. This thing, it's not just I'm out there to beat me. I'm out there to beat others, because it's a sport, right? So you got to train smart, and you have to put in the hard work. Again, we all put in the hard work. But what happens if they don't have smart and they go and they train hard and they do 2 sessions a day and they do 9 to 10 sessions a week and they're doing all these modalities? If it's not structured in the right way, it will fail on them. It will collapse them. It will injure them. It will burn them out. It will have them resenting the sport, resenting Hyrox, and it will just, it can really damage people long term, right? Big time. So for those people, if you don't have a coach, if you don't have a program, right? Of course, Hybrid Heroes, we can help you out. We do this. But if not, you just have to analyze it yourself. Who am I? Like, I want to be a pro. Okay, well, number one, what age bracket am I in? Do I want to be a pro in my 50s? Am I trying to be a world pro? So am I in my 30s? Am I in my peak? Am I late 20s? Right? Okay, what does that mean for me? Where am I? Where am I in my life? What am I? What's my work commitments? What's my family commitments? What does then training need to look like? Again, I got to still balance me out. How do I unwind? How do I recover? How do I train? What are my weaknesses? Right? What do I need to work on? How does progress look like over 12 weeks for me? When's my next race? Like, am I accumulating right now, or am I in intensification pre-competition phase? Right? Like every little thing needs to come under the microscope. So that is why also, if you are finding someone who is really, really good or doing great in their training, if you're a newbie, if you're someone new to sport, if you're like, again, someone who's new to Hyrox, still been training, but you're looking to these people to model their programs, number one, everything that they do is typically designed for them, right? But also, it's not like their whole life is geared around that. And I know it because I'm training these people right now. I'm part of it. I literally quit my job to focus on a Hyrox. Some of the people I have online coaches and have the ability to just move and be flexible with their life. And that is why some of these people have the ability to do what they do, right? Obviously, they put in the work, they put in structure, they do everything that's required. But those are those extra requirements that some people just aren't willing to do. Why? Because, why do you need to go quit your job? Why do you need to take Friday afternoons off? Why do you need? Well, you don't need to. But if you want to be a world champion, it's not about what you want to do, it's what you need to do. All right. So that just might be a reality. And that's why some people aren't just going to get to the podium, because they're trying to beat people that have made those sacrifices and made those choices. Right. Now, you might be someone be like, yeah, you know what, Damon, I'm going to prove you wrong. Great. Go prove me wrong. Go prove me wrong. I wish you all the best. Right. I really hope you reach your goals and dreams. But this is just based on my observations. And there are people that do that. They still work hard, still do 40, 50 hours a week, still have families and still do that. But you know what? That's why you also go and can still make the podium, is because you still make those choices. You still make the sacrifices. Instead of being like, I need to just sit and watch TV, you go train, or you get up super early. So you're doing the work anyway, right? You just have to do hard things. And those people, right? I've got some really good friends who are triathletes, work full-time jobs, have families, and they get it all done and they compete at very high levels. And why is this? Because they train smart. Going back to the original design, is they have coaches, they have people supporting them, right? And that's why they can do it. So if you're doing this unsupported, right, alone, and you're just struggling, this is where some of the problems will lie. Now, again, these concepts, again, I've spoken about some of the individuals, but there's a lot of principles in there, right? Again, the main principle we just need to understand from this podcast is the idea of you got to be training smart. You just can't leave things to hope, right? You just can't like randomly expect to get very calculated results if you're just doing things randomly. As we say, random efforts equal random results, right? You just can't wing your way through. I've seen it, I've been it, and it's why I get more and more excited about what we're doing here at Hybrid Heroes and in this space, because it's exactly what we're doing. We are helping people. Now, just a little tiny list, right? Because if we get this wrong, all right, what's going to happen? Well, the biggest thing, and what I went through a little bit, but I've pulled myself up right away. Again, it's okay to do it, but you got to pull yourself up. It's not okay just to ignore it. Is you could burn out, right? So what are the signs there? Like your mental health is going to go into decline, right? You're going to be starting to get a little bit more irrational, irritated, start to have a little bit more of a negative outlook on life, right? Physically, right? You're going to get sick. Performance is going to diminish. You could be getting injuries and niggles, right? All these things are going to creep in. Your mood, going back to your mental health, you're just going to be shitty all the time, right? And you're going to have ideas of quitting and giving up and thinking it's too hard. It's not. It's just your approach is incorrect for you, okay? You're going to start to feel underprepared, right, for racing, right? And this is the worst feeling I think any Hyrox athlete can do coming into an event, is feeling underprepared. You should be coming into an event feeling prepared. That's when you know you've done things smart. And when you've applied the hard work to it as well, with that smartness, you feel unstoppable, okay? So that's one thing we need to make sure that you're achieving, because there's so many people, again, I know they get to Hyrox and they're just looking forward to Hyrox being done and over, because they just want a break and a rest from the training, their approach. This is definitely a sign we've done it incorrect. All right. And like this, again, this is a whole other topic, right? But when you start training harder, right, and even smarter, like you have to focus on even food. We didn't really talk about food, but food and fueling your performance is so important. So a lot of people's they're doing all the hard work, they're doing extra sessions, they're doing more, and they're eating either less or the same. Chaos, absolute chaos, right, that it's going to cause. So, guys, hopefully this gives you a really great insight, potentially to where you're at, what you're experiencing. Are you burning out? Now, the question is, you might just go, you know what? You've identified it perfectly. I feel like this. I'm going to go and analyze what are some action steps. I've got to analyze where I'm at, right? And then I have to make some changes to my training program. Okay, now, if you need help with that, okay, here we are, Hybrid Heroes. It's exactly what we're here for. This ain't a sales pitch, but it's kind of a sales pitch. But it's really my way of just being like, this is what we do. We help people with this. Okay, how do we help people? We have a training app. Now, we have programs, and we got 14 brand new programs about to launch the end of this week from when this podcast is recorded. So the great thing is we have structure. We have program design to suit beginner, intermediate, advanced, the different types of people. And what we also include is myself in there, right? A coach, someone that you can message, talk to, ask questions, and we can modify things a little bit for you, right? So either selecting the right program for you, but then if you're like, hey, I feel like this is too much, then I can give you the right advice to make the right changes, right? So now you are getting the most out of your training, and everything's done in a smart, structured way, because you're not the coach, you're not the one that studied exercise and fitness for 18 years. Like, I've done all that, so I can do the thinking for you, as well as I learn off hundreds and hundreds of people literally every week. So we're always bringing to you, right, the best laid out sort of designs to help you. It's that simple. So if you want to join the Hybrid Heroes training app, we've actually got a 7-day free trial link down below. You can click on it. You can get involved with the training app. It's that simple. As well as we have a free online community. So maybe you're like, you know what, I don't need the training, but I want to hear more about these talks and insights, we got an online group, right? Obviously, if you're on the training app, you can get access to all of it. So guys, we're here to help, right? And that's why we put out content and we do this, because our goal, our mission is just to help people be just better humans, right? Progress over perfection, right? I want to see you out there physically better, mentally healthier, right? And we'll see you enjoying Hyrox and having a great time, because Hyrox truly is an amazing event, and it should be amazing. And it's not just the event that is so amazing. It should be everything. It should be the training. You should enjoy the training. You should find love in the fitness lifestyle that it provides you. And then you can go find other like-minded people who also do it. Now you've got community, you've got fitness, you're getting healthier. What more could we ask for? Guys, appreciate you all. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you on the next episode.